Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable members of the Opposition, Honourable Ministers and Members of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to deliver my ministerial statement where I will be focusing on two issues that I know have gained a lot of attention because they affect not only the individual and our communities, but our beloved nation. It's on fighting crime and war against drugs in Fiji. Mr. Speaker, sir, I may be addressing this August House in my capacity as Minister for Defence, National Security and Foreign Affairs, but more importantly as a Fijian citizen that cares about our beloved nation and the future of our children and grandchildren, to call for a whole-of-nation approach towards fighting crime and supporting law enforcement efforts in the war against drugs. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to put things right with regards to the crime situation, as there has been a lot of attention, both by the mainstream media and on social media, about it spiraling out of control, which in turn has impacted public perception that Fiji is being overrun by criminals. Mr. Speaker, sir, I do acknowledge that certain criminal activities have drawn the nation's interest on the recent spate of robberies, burglaries, and gender-based violence along with drugs that has captured the imagination of all Fijians. I am pleased that the Honourable Prime Minister and respectable members of the community have duly voiced their concern on gender-based violence and the drug situation in our country. And I duly applaud the Honourable Prime Minister to have cited for meaningful community partnerships where responsible citizens are taking ownership and extending assistance to the Fiji Police Force. Mr. Speaker, sir, the power of the media and social media was evident following the posting of the video showing the attacks along Victoria Parade, which has painted Suva and Fiji as a nation that is unsafe. The barrage of exchanges on social media calling for more proactive measures by police have been supported by members of the opposition. And just the other day, the Honourable Linda Tabuya called for another police post to be erected along Victoria Parade. The question I would like to pose not only to members of the opposition, but to every Fijian is, will erecting more police posts prevent robberies and attacks that are allegedly being fueled by drugs? Is having more police patrols on the ground going to prevent another 1,634 primary and secondary school children becoming victims of drug-related cases such as those reported in schools in 2018? Is having more police officers the solution to reducing the domestic violence rate, which has recorded an 85% increase between the periods of January to June this year? And will it help reduce crimes against women and children that have recorded increases of 2% and 1% respectively, and prevent another innocent child or woman from becoming a victim of gender-based violence in their own homes? Mr. Speaker, sir, this is why the Honourable Prime Minister has and continues to call for support to help police fight crime. And I stand in support of this, not as the Minister for Defence and National Security to get the spotlight of our police force, but because it's the right thing to do. The brazen attacks out in public and robberies, as alluded to by the Honourable Prime Minister, is likely linked to the increase in drug-related activities. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is our duty to ensure that we speak facts in this August House, and while the issue of crime certainly is an effective means of gaining political mileage, We owe it to the people we serve to speak on facts. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm not here to give a long-winded address to try and justify law enforcement shortfalls based on any particular case, but I want to state that the reality on the ground is that Fiji is still safer in comparison to many other countries. But of course, we need to act now and be more proactive and take responsibility equally. The Commissioner of Police has publicly stated on numerous occasions that statistics on crimes is easily available. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is the crime statistics for 2018. Very interesting reading. And it's available to the public and, of course, to members of this August House, but I will not bore you with statistics. Economists love statistics, not me. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to say again that the Commissioner has stated on numerous occasions that statistics on crimes is available, and one just needs to pick up the phone and request for a copy. A statement I believe many on the opposition side have forgotten or have deliberately chosen to forget. The fact is that crime situation in Fiji is not as alarming as many have thought it to be. The statistics captured by the Fiji police force on reported crimes depict otherwise. In that the January to June 2019 data in comparison to the same period in 2018 demonstrates decreasing trends. Mr. Speaker, sir, there hasn't been any sudden upward surge of crime in a short span of time. In fact, if we look at the crime statistics for the periods of January to June this year, overall crime has reduced by 8%, while serious crime is down by 4%. And the steps are being taken by police and our city and town councils through the Director of Local Government to find long-term solutions that can effectively keep these crime trends down. Mr. Speaker, sir, having boots on the ground may result in the reduction of robberies and theft in the short term. But we have to find workable and long-term solutions as well. Solutions that include improving lighting in Suva along areas that are prone to opportunistic crimes, and by this weekend, as assured by the Director of Local Government and his team, these areas will be well lit, and Suva's nightlife will be safer for all to move around safely. Collaboration on where the 20 new CCTV cameras will be installed in a few weeks' time is also ongoing between the Suva City Council and police, so that the cameras complement the work of law enforcement agencies. Later this week, the patrol car concept will be reintroduced in Suva, where reports can be attended to in a timely manner, as I know that the response time has been an issue. Mr. Speaker, sir, discussions will also be held to link up the existing CCTV cameras to a central location where police can view and monitor the streets of Suva, and I acknowledge with gratitude the Suva Retailers Association's public declaration in that they are willing to contribute financially to the purchase of more security cameras. This afternoon, Mr. Speaker, sir, nightclub operators and their security personnel will be called in for a joint meeting with the police and the Suva City Council to iron out issues of concern with regards to the safety of their patrons. Mr. Speaker, sir, as government's focus on enhancing national security has paid dividends and aided Suva's economic growth, we would ask that the business community exercise their corporate social responsibility by assisting police in investing in these cost-effective but long-term solutions that can contribute to creating a safer environment for their customers. Mr. Speaker, sirs, allow me to share sentiments on the national narcotics and illicit drugs, both green and synthetic, in Fiji. I do acknowledge and concur with the Honorable Prime Minister that the illicit drug situation in Fiji needs a collaborative and more cohesive effort from all segments of our society. We have noted that hard drugs have found a transit point for our neighbors, particularly from Australia and New Zealand. Likewise, cannabis sativa or marijuana have found very strong cultivation presence in Kandavu, and of course in the Triangle in Bonwaleavu, and of course in Navosa, and they continue to harvest and supply in the Fijian market. Mr. Speaker, sir, in curbing this, the Fiji police would need rigorous collaborated operational strategy, as well as surveillance and newer methods such as biological control measures. Mr. Speaker, sir, on the offset, drugs recorded an increase of 13% in June 2019 when compared to the same period last year. This may not depict the actual rise, but it is a reflection of the police and concerted joint stakeholder efforts by police, the Fiji Navy, Fiji Customs and Immigration, the Republic of Fiji Military Forces, and the Fiji Revenue and Customs Service. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the recent discovery of transponders and numerous blocks of hard drugs in our inland shores indicates our vulnerability to drug trade routes. To overcome this vulnerability, sir, government has funded the purchase of new intercept boats to strengthen law enforcement presence on the seas. And last week, the collaboration between the police and the Fiji Navy was again realized when the RFNS Kikau was deployed to retrieve transponders and suspicious containers found in one of our far-lying groups of islands, with the retrieval process completed in less than 10 hours of when the information of the discovery was received. Mr. Speaker, sir, controlling our borders will always be a challenge, one Fiji is confronting alone. In government's endeavor to fight against this cross-border crime, the Fiji Revenue and Customs Services has taken serious steps to have a virtual border control system to profile passengers, cargo, and crafts before they enter Fiji. Some of the real-time initiatives include the introduction of non-intrusive inspection equipment at both the seaports in Suva and Lautoka, further extending the scanning of parcels at the postal agencies, and further supported with the Fiji Drug Detector Dog Unit, which provides enhanced opportunity to comprehend the illicit drug trade. Mr. Speaker, sir, the capacity development and engagement between the Fiji Revenue and Customs Services and local and regional law enforcement has resulted in the success of the Detector Dog Unit based in Suva and Nadi International Airport has intercepted cases of hard drugs from 2017 to 2019 with a street value of $63 million and $90.9 million in social cost. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is the point I am trying to drive here as a Fijian citizen that cares about our Fiji. I ask that we put aside our differences for a minute and think about how we can work together for the sake of our Fiji. I have made this statement at every speaking opportunity that I have been given, because everyone needs to understand that national security is economic security. It is our security. It is our economy. It's for the benefit of our Fiji that we need to work together. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is not an issue that we should be taking sides on. When it comes to crime, we should be united in helping our law enforcement agencies. This is why it's imperative for us to work together to examine the root causes of why children are loitering in town or why there are more than 1,600 young people linked to drug cases in our schools, and why women and children continue to be victimized in their own homes. Just as the Commissioner has stated that they are going back to the basics, so should we go work together to examine why the family institution is failing in providing the necessary support and guidance to prevent the commission of these serious crimes. We need to focus on the family, Mr. Speaker, sir. A strong family will contribute towards a strong community, and a strong community will build a strong nation. And this is why we need to focus on the family institutions. This is the real issue at hand, Mr. Speaker, sir, and we are in a position to effect change. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is our Fiji and our home. No one will come from outside to solve our issues. We have to work together because just as crime does not discriminate, I would urge members of this august House to put aside our differences and help support the efforts of law enforcement agencies in tackling all forms of crime. I wish to also assure this august House, Honourable Speaker, sir, that this is not only focusing on Suva, but we are equally drawing attention and effort on the other municipalities as well. And in my visits to the divisions, I have also asked for the opportunity to have meetings with the local communities, particularly the business communities in these respective municipalities. Mr. Speaker, sir, we need to change the mindset that fighting crime is for law enforcement agencies. And in this august House, we can show what unity can achieve for the sake of a crime and drug-free Fiji for our children and the many generations to come. Government, Mr. Speaker, sir, is backing the war on drugs, and we need everyone's support before it becomes a real menace to our society and economy. I thank you, sir.